What is going on, Bet Records? We are back with another football video. Going to be looking at some top headlines coming into Week 7 here, as well as some, what do you want to call it? Looking at the games from last week, kind of deciding, who we got to keep for fantasy, who we got to just jump the ship and kind of drop them. Make sure you guys are tuning in for these episodes. It'll be really helpful as the weeks continue. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, drop us a like, and drop us some comments down below as well. Biggest one, and I'm obviously excited for this, DeAndre Hopkins is back. 6-game suspension is over. I was, we'll see what happens. I'm going to say I was fortunate enough to draft him pretty late in the draft. Have held him this whole time. I'm ready to play him this week. I'm kind of nervous about Thursday Night Football. There's a lot of movement happening with Arizona. Kyler Murray hasn't looked as good as he's been in previous years. But it'll be an awesome, ad, or I should say a great roster move for anyone that has him currently, as these bye weeks continue to come upon us early in this season here. Biggest factor for Arizona, Marquise Brown did get an injury in the last game. I believe, what was it, his foot?
I don't remember.
I believe it was a fracture in his foot. Initially, they weren't sure if he was going to be back this season, but now it's kind of looking like 6 weeks is the estimation for him to return to the playing field. They do have their week 13 bye, so he's projected to come back in week 14. Hopkins should get a huge plus from that, not only being the great receiver that he is already, but again, with Marquise Brown going out, there's not really many people behind him but Zach Ertz. Well, I guess otherwise, other than our next point here of some big news, Arizona must have saw that coming and grabbed Robbie Anderson from Carolina as well. Justin, do you think Robbie Anderson's going to be able to make a huge impact right away with this team due to this injury situation? He'll be the wide receiver too to start next Thursday night.
I definitely think there's a possibility that Robbie Anderson can play a big part in Arizona. Obviously, there's been stars who have been held back by teams before. Randy Moss is the perfect example.
Yep.
Randy Moss was great in Minnesota, but never really got far with them. And it's a different story with Robbie Anderson, just kind of been mediocre his entire career. Like, still looked at as a star, especially when he was with the Jets. And obviously, They kicked him out. Carolina decided to get rid of him. And going from Baker Mayfield to Kyler is a big upgrade, but at the same time, even you say Kyler doesn't look as dominant as he had in year past.
No, the report I read was he's looking like his rookie self, which he didn't do very well his rookie year. Did better the seasons after that, and right now, I don't know what the true whole thing is. They got a lot of injuries. I mean, we know James Conner is injured as well in their backfield. Benjamin has been dealing with some injuries, but he's been playing through them and has been doing okay. Arizona's really struggling. I've mentioned before, I'm not really confident in their defense as well, so it'll be pretty interesting to kind of see how this all unfolds with, again, 2 new wide receivers who are going to be starting 1 and 2. I know Hopkins has been here, right? He's been there for how many years now? But really, he hasn't played with the offense other than training camp and, behind the camera. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I believe they play on Thursday night as well here. So make sure you're looking on our channel. We're always posting the weekly pick'ems. We're going to run through the Thursday night, all the Sunday night games, or Sunday day games even, going to Monday Night Football as well. So make sure you're watching our channel. We're going to be doing that as well in the near future, in the next couple days. Sticking with Carolina, we know the coach was fired, right? They just traded Robbie Anderson. Yep. They might be in some kind of a rebuild. They played PJ Walker last week as quarterback, then Baker was thrown back in there.
I think they've been in a rebuild.
And that's kind of what I was thinking too. It's like, now that we don't have the same coach, we're going to start over kind of thing. Yeah. But the real question I have for you, and there's obviously not a right answer to this, but do you think they truly get rid of CMC for something, or do they keep him because he's the only decent guy on their team?
I think they should get rid of him for something.
Oh, man, dude.
I honestly think that is the right move.
And I don't even know where he really goes. I mean, there's a couple talks about, I believe San Francisco does want to get them, and then Buffalo was in the running as well. Should be in the running. They are definitely interested from initial reports here. But nonetheless, I just kind of think of it like Saquon at this point. You know what I mean? Saquon Barkley is the only decent dude on the Giants, and he's pretty much put the team on his shoulders and has gotten them the 5-1 victory that they're at right now, which we'll get into in a little bit. I just feel like you can't trade that stud, that star. I get it if they're in a rebuild. They just got no one. They just got no one else. They got DJ Moore. That's it.
I was gonna say back in the '80s, the Oilers traded Wayne Gretzky.
How did that turn out for him?
Okay, but it didn't turn out good for the Kings either.
Because he didn't do good or what?
No, it's just they made it to the finals and they just couldn't win. But that's hockey.
Yep.
But there's plenty of examples of superstars being traded and it working out, and sometimes it not working out.
Right. And as we've seen with this season, I mean, Devontae Adams going to Vegas, not doing very hot. Green Bay losing their stud, and Devontae Adams as well. They're not doing hot. So it'll be interesting to see what really happens. I believe beginning of November is the trade deadline, week 8 or 9. Can't remember off the top of my head, but we only got a couple weeks. A lot of people are interested in trading, so definitely make sure you guys are watching the news, drafting some of these guys that are moving here. And speaking of guys getting signed by new teams, we got Dion Jackson making his return, going to the Baltimore Ravens.
This guy's got to be almost 40 years
I was
old.
going to just Google that, actually. Because what team did he sign with last? It was either last season or the year before.
The Buccaneers or the Seahawks, I think. He's been with a lot of teams ever since his prime with the Eagles. And then I remember then he went to...
He's 35.
He played for the Redskins for a little bit. He's only 35? Okay.
Yep, only 35.
He played for
Redskins,
the Eagles,
Tampa Bay.
Redskins, Tampa.
Yep. I know for sure he was on the Redskins. Redskins at the time.
Well,
the Commanders now.
Well, Redskins at the time. It doesn't, you can't erase history.
I know.
Joe Theismann played for the Redskins, not the Commanders.
Yep.
The Washington football team.
Well, speaking of the Washington football team, Carson Wentz also out, fractured right finger, out for 4 weeks. Definitely going to take a hit with Terry McLaurin and a lot of these other receiving backs. We're going to see how Tyler Heineke does again. He did fairly well.
Taylor Heineke.
What did I say?
You said Tyler.
Taylor Heineke. I believe he had a 500 record. I think he was 8-7 or 7-8 or something last season for his starts. I know he was okay. He's a, chuck the ball down and hopefully the receivers get it kind of guy. So it'll be interesting to see what really happens. Terry McLaurin does take a hit. If he's your wide receiver 2, you're looking at maybe being a wide receiver 3, flex play at best. Unless you have to start him with these bye weeks, I would say probably don't, just because we don't know what's really going to happen with that whole situation there. On the quarterback train, some other top trending news coming into this week 7 here. Dak Prescott expected to start in week 7. We'll cover that a little bit more deeper in our next video as well, breaking down their matchup this coming week. And finally, some more quarterback news. We'll talk about Monday night a little bit here. Russell Wilson, day-to-day with a hamstring issue, had some issues towards the end of the game there, and Justin Herbert failed to throw a touchdown on Monday Night Football.
And not to mention the guy who got interviewed after the game was the Chargers kicker, not even one of the star players.
Yep.
Dustin Hopkins makes 4 field goals with a very sore hamstring and comes out as the MVP of the game.
Yeah. And I don't even know if it's just like the Broncos playing or what the deal is, but every time they're on the field, especially prime time, it's just a snooze fest kind of game. I know Russell threw that touchdown right away in the beginning. He threw 100 yards or something, I think, in the first quarter even. For sure the first half. And then he just did nothing again. There's 2 more screenshots I have somewhere of just wide open guys in the middle of the field and all that shit. And I'm like, hey, seriously, is it time to drop Russell Wilson in 12-team leagues?
I think so.
I think it is too. Let me pull up maybe at least some people out there in our leagues. If you guys are looking for a quarterback, we know we got the bye weeks coming. There's a lot of people struggling. Russell Wilson, Derek Carr has been okay. Let's see kind of we have at least available in our league and what we kind of think. Trevor Lawrence has
hit or miss with that one.
Yeah, he's been okay. He got 25 points last week, but that's really due to the 2 rushing touchdowns. Other than that, it's been pretty lackluster. Daniel Jones, again, big rushing upside. Maybe my favorite quarterback just chilling out there is Marcus Mariota. And I hate to say it, but the Falcons have been looking good for some reason.
Everybody wrote them off this year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And they're, 3-3, 500 team, right? But yeah.
I was going to say, at this point, everyone would say, Bucks are going to win the division. The Bucks don't even look good either.
Yeah,
I was going to say, that division is up for grabs.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. Yeah, Bucks are 3-3 as well.
In my opinion, the worst division in football.
It probably is.
Yeah.
It probably definitely is. Not a bad pick up there. What do we, any updates on Mac Jones?
Nothing really. I think he might be coming back this Monday night against the Bears, but from the news of it looks like the Patriots might have found Bailey Zappi as the guy.
Can they do that? I mean, obviously the coaching staff can, right? But it was all of last year. It was Mac Jones,
Yeah,
now just toss him aside and take the third string. How did the game go this past week? I can't remember who they played.
Killed Cleveland.
Okay, yeah, 38-15.
In a game everyone picked them to lose.
Yep.
Made it look easy. But obviously a great game from Mondre Stevenson. He was the player of the game. I think he had 20-something fantasy points, a 30-something yard touchdown.
Yeah, he
went
had
off this week.
76 rushing yards off of 19 attempts. 2 rushing touchdowns, would definitely contributed to his 23 points for fantasy this week. Did have 4 receptions as well for 15 total yards. So half PPR scoring, a little bit around 23, a little bit more than 23, this week. Did fairly well. Did Zappi throw a touchdown? I totally missed this game.
Yeah, he did, I think. There was a great catch by Devontae Parker, too. That was pretty stellar.
Yeah, looks like Zappi, 309 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He did lose a fumble though, huh?
Yeah, he did. I do remember that.
And that's
It was
all right.
Myles Garrett, though.
And that makes sense. We kind of talked about that in our last Week 6 slate breakdown, how Myles Garrett would be a pretty big nightmare for this younger rookie quarterback, right? Third string. But I think Bill Belichick has found their rhythm. It always takes them 4 or 5 games beginning of the season as kind of a coin flip. I hate to say it, right?
Yeah.
But after about week 6, he's like, all right, I know exactly what we're doing. I know our strengths of our players, and he just builds a great game plan. I think we saw it last week.
Yeah, here's the thing. Bill Belichick doesn't give a fuck what the media thinks.
Oh, God.
If he hears a media show saying what is Belichick doing? He does not care. He's saying, I know what I'm doing.
Yep.
So at this point, being a lifelong Patriots fan, I've learned just to not question Bill Belichick anymore. Just, you do you, Bill. I'll go along with it. If it works out, it works out.
You do you, Bill.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of hard to bet against or for that, though, because, do you really put your faith in the Patriots? Well, I guess last week Bill showed us you probably should.
Yeah,
That's true.
What?
Tied George Halas
Yes.
for the second most coaching wins of all time.
Yep.
The only man that's standing in his way is the late Don Shula.
Okay. How many, what's the gap in there?
So I think he has 347 total wins. This is total wins, not regular season wins.
Okay.
I do believe in regular season wins. Belichick is still a little behind Halas. I know he reached that 300 range.
Sure. Yep, definitely.
So, and I don't see Belichick retiring in the next 3 years. I just cannot see it happening. He still looks like he's still good old Bill Belichick. He has a little fire in him.
Yep.
Where he goes.
Pete Carroll's still bouncing around on the sidelines.
I was gonna
Belichick.
say Pete Carroll's older than Bill Belichick.
Oh
too.
yeah. I wonder. I'm gonna Google that quick.
He's only a year older than Belichick, but again, he's still he's
71.
And he doesn't even look 71 years
No.
old.
Yeah, that's actually pretty crazy.
I was gonna say no. He looked just fine. Yeah, Bill's 70.
Yeah, and now look up his
Wow.
total wins. Because I know that stat was total wins including playoffs, which Belichick has the most playoff wins of all time.
He's now 23 wins behind first, I believe I saw. Yep, 23 wins away from first place. So if he plays for 2 more seasons, he'll win that easily. He'll beat that easily. And I think honestly, when you're that close,
win out
you might
this
as
season,
well.
win the Super Bowl, and then go undefeated the next season.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves there, Pats fan. I see why you put the sweatshirt on. I just do that. After all those headlines, let's just probably run through the card of last week, the wins and losses, and then maybe we'll get to some more fantasy as well.
In my opinion, the games were kind of lackluster.
This was the worst week, honestly, in football. I mean, even the Buffalo and Kansas City game, which again we'll get to, was kind of lackluster. I mean, it was fine to watch, and it was a close game, obviously, but everyone is expecting 30 points from each side, and
I barely. I actually fell asleep during that game.
Really?
I'm not even lying either. I don't think it was because of the game. Q-Tip knows why.
It was just because you guys stayed up late and were hungover, I'm sure.
Nope, because we got hungover, went out, and then went for some drinks to watch the 1 o'clock games.
Oh, there you go.
This episode of Bet Records is brought to you by Proper Number 12 Irish Whiskey.
There you go.
One for all.
There you go.
That's free advertisement, by the way. You're welcome, Connor.
You're welcome, Connor. You're gonna need it. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Again, lackluster game. Snoozer. This is when Carson Wentz got hurt. Commanders did pull it through, which I still really can't believe.
What was it? I think the Bears, they went for it on like a 4th down, and they came like half a yard short.
Half a yard. It was the last play of the game.
What was it, Darnell Mooney?
Yep.
He caught it, but the ball didn't break the plane. He was on the half-yard line.
Yeah.
He was he was coming out of the end zone as the ball was coming, and as soon as the ball hit him, he was half a yard out of the end zone.
Right.
So that's just bad luck right there. So
it is, but they were still put in that position. The craziest thing is the Bears could not do it all game long. That last drive, just like you mentioned, tried out all the way down the field, made that final catch, and almost freaking won the game. I just think they're not the coaching staff. It's a new coaching staff in Chicago, right? They didn't draft Justin Fields. They said, hey, you're going to play like Tom Brady. We're going to put you as a pocket passer and put you in these certain situations, right?
Yeah.
He's not a pocket passer. We see him rush for 80 yards a week.
Justin Fields is not a pocket passer.
No, he's not tall. I don't even think he's 5'10". But it's just because I was watching a lot of the game, and he's like on his tippy toes or trying to jump and throw a pass and do some like Patrick Mahomes like stuff when he needs to just get his feet set and just hammer the ball out, run the outside of the pockets, do some more, planned running on the outsides to get him to look, straight to the wide receiver and toss the ball out there. He's got a good arm.
I was going to say, Justin Fields is athletic. He's just not really utilizing. If he just had confidence in his arm a little more, he's got a great receiver in Darnell Mooney and a great tight end, too. I think he would have a lot of success. He just tries to make the plays happen on his own. He's got a good arm. He can show it off.
I know. We'll see if the coaching staff, listens to this one and makes some adjustments to, give their quarterback some success, because right now they're not. Next game up, I know San Francisco's defense was banged up a ton, and that was the biggest reason why I think they lost this week. Final score: Falcons at home, 28-14. Definitely didn't see that one coming, but like we mentioned earlier, Mariota's on fire.
You think they lost? They did lose.
I know. Yeah. No. I'm thinking. Yeah. I can't remember how many defensive players were out for San Francisco. I believe it was at least like 5 of their starters.
Hey, but great game by the Falcons. I'll say that. Marcus Mariota's having like kind of a career revival, if you ask me. Everyone's writing him off. He's basically just saying on the sidelines, all right, hold my beer.
Yep.
I'll show you. And now his name is relevant again. Honestly, for the past 3 seasons, I was always wondering what happened to Mariota. And I guess Atlanta gave him that shot, and hey,
he's taking it.
Everyone was predicting they were going to go like winless this year. No, they're 500 right now, 3-3, and neck in the division in the NFC South.
Yeah,
rise up,
keep it alive.
Keeping it alive. We already talked about the Patriots and Browns. Patriots won 38-15, featuring a lot of Stevenson work with Damian Harris out for the next couple weeks.
And a stellar defensive performance again by the New England defense.
Awesome.
People forget just how great the New England defense is.
I agree. Next up, we got another upset. Jets won 27-10 at Green Bay.
Was it really an upset, though?
Here's my real question of the week. Are the Jets a good football team?
Honestly, yes. I do think they are a good football team.
Yeah, I think
these rookies that they have are actually really stepping it up.
Yeah.
Breece Hall and Corey Davis? No?
Corey Davis, wide receiver, and then Garrett Wilson's
a rookie.
Receiver.
He's good.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess this is like a downfall for Aaron Rodgers. Like, is this it for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
It's gotta be, dude. It's gotta be coming close to it, bro.
It's gotta be. He just signed another 3-4 year extension, though, with Green Bay. But he made mention, basically, in his post-conference thing, or maybe it was the day later, I don't remember now, but basically is like, yeah, look at all these good teams, right? There's us, there's Tampa Bay, who's 3-3, there's the Rams are 3-3, all these good teams, right? The Bengals are 3-3, Ravens 3-3. They're tied with all these guys. At the end of the day, they are tied. All these teams are 500, and those are a lot of the favorited teams, right? So are they with the pack? Yes, but is this obviously where they want to be? Obviously not. Randall Cobb, I believe, is out for 2 or 4 weeks as well. Doesn't really help a ton. Doesn't really make a big difference, I don't think.
And now they're a couple games back from the Vikings, so they have to dig themselves out of a hole with the surging hot Minnesota Vikings.
Yep. And the Vikings are on bye in week 7 here, so unfortunately we're not going to add to our win total, but we're not going to lose. We're not going to lose either, so you don't got to worry about that this week.
Good game in Indianapolis here.
Yeah, dude. If you guys picked up Dion Jackson Sunday morning, just like I did, you probably won your week. He was definitely a week 6 winner. Got a little bit more than 12 fantasy points, I believe, in half PPR. He got 10 receptions for 80 yards receiving. Dude was a beast in place of Jonathan Taylor. Just kind of came out of nowhere and ran all over Jacksonville. Matt Ryan had a decent game for once. Colts are now sitting 3-2-1.
3-2-1.
3-2-1.
3-2-1.
Go. There you are. We'll kind of see what happens with both these teams. Again, Trevor Lawrence did okay. He had those 2 rushing touchdowns. Remember we looked at.
I was gonna say this is another crappy division too.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
The first 2 weeks, Jaguars look good. Now they're kind of starting to cool down.
I know.
Anyway, moving on. Minnesota Vikings, Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are hot and cold now. They've started off 3-1, and now they've lost 2 straight.
Yep.
Or no, 3 straight, I think.
Yep. Won 3 straight. 2 went out. Lost the next 3. Teddy Bridgewater did make a fairly decent, attempt at a comeback in this game. As the other quarterback, Skylar Thompson, I believe, got injured with a finger injury. I can't remember what happened there. During the game, though. Nonetheless, the Vikings did squeak that one out again in Miami, won 24-16. Are the Vikings on their way to the Super Bowl, or am I getting ahead of myself here?
I think it's still too early to tell with this team.
Yeah, it's a little too early for this season.
Especially this team.
I know. I think it is too. They have a wonderful chance to win the division right now, where they're sitting. They're doing a lot better than. I don't want to say than we expected, but I would say personally they're doing better than I was thinking.
Moving on to NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana, where the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow make his return to the stadium where it all went down, him winning his national championship with Jamar Chase. They pulled out the victory against the Saints with Jamar Chase having 2 touchdowns for 100-something yards and 28 fantasy points. I was going to say it took him a while for Chase to turn it on, but the fourth quarter, the Bengals really came in and made a statement on the field where they took it all.
Yep. Squeaked it through with 4 points towards the end of that game there. Little interesting fun fact. Did you see Joe Burrow wore his LSU jersey? Yeah, you already knew what I was going to say before I said it.
I think that was Jamar Chase's, though.
So
because it was number 1 on there.
Right, and I don't remember for sure, but I read some comment somewhere, well, no shit, we should have known Jamar Chase was going to have a field day because he wore this LSU jersey, and obviously there's that connection there from previous years. T. Higgins did lead the team in targets with 10 targets. I think he put up about 10 fantasy points. No touchdowns this week for him, but love both those receivers going on the rest of the season here too for fantasy purposes. Next game up here, I'd say, God, you tell me if this was an upset or not. Ravens lost 20-24 in New York against the Giants, who are hot, on fire, 5-1 now.
Yeah, rematch of Super Bowl 35.
Yeah.
And man, Giants look good.
God, dude, I can't remember what the Giants coach's name is, but he's going to be gunning for Coach of the Year. They've been dog shit the past 2-3 plus, and now they're...
They've been dog shit for a long time.
Well, that's why I said plus at the end, 2-3 plus, right? And they're putting it together with pretty much nothing. Their wide receivers are injured again, left and right.
I will say why they were trash is because they didn't have Saquon. He was injury prone.
That's true.
I think Saquon is the key to this New York Giants offense. And with him having this revival, everyone coming to the season saying, oh, he's going to get hurt. Me and myself included, I wish I could go back and draft Saquon in the draft.
I bet, yeah. I feel like most people can say that.
Yes. Because, most of you guys probably should have got him in the second round, of your fantasy drafts. I was going to see, I meant the Giants. I was going to see how their defense did because I know Wan'Dale Robinson, we got to see some more of him. Finally, the rookie for New York, finally putting up some numbers there and got a touchdown this week. Looks like, Giants defense, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery and interception. So really nothing crazy. But nonetheless, they held Lamar Jackson to it and they didn't let him come back in the end again.
Yeah.
I brought this up every week, I believe, since week 3. Lamar Jackson has been stellar. He's had those great fantasy games, fantasy-wise, but for some reason in the fourth quarter, he cannot keep that game saved. He just flops in the fourth quarter and they can't get it done. Not sure why, but that's why they're 3-3.
But anyway, in my opinion, NFC East is the best division in football right now, aside from the Commanders. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I was going to say, you got the undefeated Eagles, you had the 5-1 Giants, and you had the 4-2 Cowboys.
Yes. Who
put up a good fight against the Eagles this week. It was a good Sunday night game. A lot of hype going into that game. The Eagles came out really fast, and I believe they were up, 17-0 at half.
Right, double digits, I remember for sure.
But then the Cowboys mounted a comeback by their rookie tight end Ferguson. I don't know if you saw his performance. That kid's good.
Yep.
Dalton Schultz went down, and Ferguson stepped in, and he basically had his "this is who I am" game.
Yep.
Don't doubt on me. That's a guy you could pick up too. I think Dak might be coming back this week.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind picking up Ferguson.
Yeah. As long as Dalton Schultz isn't fully healthy, which he hasn't been in the past 3 weeks, definitely worth an ad, especially if you're a Schultz owner, just to kind of swap him out. When Schultz is fully healthy, maybe you're good to go. Maybe they start doing 2 tight end sets and kind of do a Broncos thing, just because Broncos can't do anything else. They put 2 tight ends out there.
I think the Cowboys need to start doing that because that Ferguson kid is good.
Right.
I loved what I saw from him. Obviously, they fell short. No shame in this loss. They're going to play again. Sure. Regroup. Cowboys will be back. And do you see the Eagles going undefeated? The hype is real. Only one team has gone in this new 17-game schedule. Obviously, no one has. One team's gone in the 16-0. That was the Patriots. And then in the 14-0 back in the 70s, the Dolphins did. But by statistics show, you're going to lose eventually.
Yeah,
it just happens.
You just gotta drop the ball.
I don't think the Eagles will go undefeated.
No.
Yeah.
Seems like a crazy thing to really happen. It would have to take a lot.
It's going to have to take a lot because we even said it, Cowboys defense is awesome, but I don't think Micah Parsons touched Jalen Hurts once last week, maybe once. But we were talking about last week, all right, if anyone were to stop this, winning streak, should be the Cowboys defense.
Now I think it's the Giants who can do it.
Oh man,
I know. Last week I even said listen, I think the Cowboys are going to do it, and they had a genuine shot. They actually held the Eagles to a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the first loss of the Eagles season will come in this NFC East division, whether it's the Cowboys, the Giants, or Washington. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Definitely. Fun team to watch, and the Eagles again have their bye week in week 7 here, so we're going to see them back in week 8 to see if they can't continue their streak.
Going back to the noon games, this was another snoozer kind of. I wouldn't call this an upset, just kind of like an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah.
Is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fell to the Steelers 20-18. I saw Kenny Pickett went down with a concussion in the third quarter, I think.
Yes. Yep, it was in the second half, if I remember correctly as well. Then Trubisky came back in and, finished the game off strong for him. Tom Brady, not happy with his offensive line. I'm sure you guys have all seen the video out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's dropping F-bombs. He mentioned the post-game interview. Any week that we're dropping more F-bombs and touchdowns is not a good week. And he basically said to the linemen, I know you guys are way better than this. Just taking a little bit of frustration out, but he's like, I know you guys are better than this. What are you guys really doing right here?
Brady doesn't really look solid this year. Do you guys think it's age or off-field distractions?
I think it might be a little bit more.
I'm going to lean more off-field distractions.
I'd say that's probably more, but I'd say a little bit of both, honestly.
It's definitely both, but, I mean, he's been with Tampa, this is third year now?
Third year with Tampa.
Yeah, but I think he got more practice, and then also he has been missing, some of the core teams, so
Right.
have that practice again,
Right.
I think there's multiple factors at play for sure.
Yeah.
But there's obviously a lot of off-field stuff going on as well.
Right, and that affected preseason, that he's taking every Wednesday off. All these different little factors
Little stuff.
for the personal reasons. I didn't think about it like that, but that's got to be what it is, honestly.
Maybe.
That's all I was thinking,
Anyway,
Like I told you guys in week 2, it's like a High School Musical. He's got to get his head in the game, man. I swear.
Jeez.
Next game up, Carolina sucks. Last 10-24. They don't know what's going on with the quarterback situation.
they actually kept it close in the first half, what I remember.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't even watch
They
this
put
one.
it good, and I was like, they were winning at one point, I remember.
Okay.
And I guess, just defending Super Bowl champs.
Right.
Just came it there.
Right. I mean, the Rams have the better defense. They got the better offense. I'm not shocked by this one by any means. Definitely not an eyebrow raiser in that one. Cardinals at Seahawks. Seahawks pulled it out, won by 10, 9-19. They did win that one.
What is it with all these teams that everyone was writing off at the beginning of the season are actually good?
Yeah,
Seahawks are the perfect example.
I agree. It's Geno. And unfortunately, this has been his worst week yet. Besides maybe the first 2 weeks or something. But within the past 3 or 4, this has been his worst producing week. But how did you don't even have Kenneth Walker, do you?
Who?
Exactly, the running back now. I know you had Penny. I'm going to see how Kenneth Walker did this week because he's been doing very well so far this season, especially with Penny being out. Yeah, he got a touchdown rush 21 times last week for 97 yards, 18 fantasy points last week. He's what's carrying their team, and I thought I remembered him getting a touchdown, so that makes sense. But nonetheless, we're going to have to see what the Seahawks do the next couple weeks. DK hasn't been, doing very well. He's been getting double-digit points, but again, this was not a very good passing game for the Seahawks at home. So definitely something to monitor there. Bills did get the victory against the Chiefs. That was my thought. I thought the Bills were going to come with a vengeance, and I tell you what, they did. Josh Allen threw for 2, if not 3 touchdowns again this week. Both teams look great. It was a defensive game in the first half, I'd even say. And yeah, Bills pulled that one through.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yeah.
Even though I fell asleep.
I know. It's a great game.
For not because the game is boring, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. And finally, we already talked about the Monday Night Football game. Broncos lost 16-19, went into overtime. Dustin Hopkins, the game saver for the Chargers with the winning field goal in overtime. Russ is not looking good. Melvin Gordon was sat after 3 rushing attempts. Didn't play the rest of the game. Latavius Murray was the leading back last week, so if he's really not picked up in any of your leagues, go ahead and snag him. I don't know about this Boone guy. He didn't do very well last week, the other running back in Denver. I get Melvin Gordon's been fumbling the ball. I get it.
Right.
But I don't know why they're not playing him. He's the best guy on their team at this point.
it's tough to say.
It is. And who knows the real reason behind it? There's probably a lot of off-the-field stuff, but again, I mean, he has more fumbles than touchdowns so far this season still.
Yeah.
So a lot of them came within the first 3 weeks, but nonetheless, that's kind of where they're sitting there. Let's go ahead and look at our matchups this past week here. Well, Q-Tip, we'll start with our game since we face off against each
I
other.
don't know, man. My team just wasn't there this week. I don't even know. There's literally nothing to say about it.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. Taysom Hill, we talked about this in our last episode. You made the right call. You got to just play him. You got to play him at this point. He's going to get you, 20 points or 4 like you did this week?
I'll tell you
Nope.
that. You won't get to 0 points. It'll get you at least something.
We'll get you something. Michael Carter did not have a good week. It's looking like the Bryce Hall show for the Jets. Is that kind of concerning for a Michael Carter owner going forward?
I still think it's worth keeping Michael Carter. He's had a lot of weeks where he gets at least 10, sometimes 13 points. I think it's worth keeping him. He's a decent RB2, I'd say. Or a flex, maybe.
I'm going to say RB3 to flex, certainly. Definitely do not drop him. But nonetheless, you might have to look at some other options going forward here if it continues how that Week 6 game was trending, because I know you like Breece Hall a lot as well.
I do.
I do too, of course, but neither of us got him in our draft.
Fuck.
Unfortunately, I know. Fuck auto draft type shit. Tom Brady. Yeah, we already talked about that a little bit.
That's an okay. He did better than Justin Herbert did this week. Yeah.
Yeah, better than Russ too. I think Russ only got 11.
Irrelevant. Yeah.
Irrelevant. He sucks anyways. Yeah. Oh no, 13.8 points. If we would have played
wait,
Russ
you
this
have
week,
Russ?
I got Russ.
Yeah, Cole traded out him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole wanted to trade me. He wanted to trade me Justin Herbert and Goddard, my tight end, for 2 mediocre running backs. I was like, dude, what?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, Herbert should be coming back. The Denver passing defense
Denver has
is good.
No, Denver has the statistical best defense in the league.
Right.
Alright.
So, should we have seen that coming? Yes. Should have really been that close of a game? Sure, I don't know. I guess that answer, but Deontay Johnson hasn't been doing as well as we've hoped. Amari Cooper, great pickup. I told you he'd be a great pickup.
It is a great pickup.
Probably most people probably got him in the 10th, 12th round, something like that, double digits.
Especially wait for the later season. Expect him to pick up
Oh, I hope so, bro.
when you know who comes back.
Deshaun.
We're not going to mention his name because.
Yep. Or Deshaun Jackson. CEH, little lackluster. Good lord.
Yeah, this is his worst week.
Yeah, his worst week so far. I ain't gonna lie. I bet against him in Prize Picks. If you guys want some Prize Pick stuff, let me know. I think I'm gonna be posting some stuff on Instagram within the next couple weeks here for some more betting prop specifics. I did take the under on him. He was projected 42 rushing yards. Took the under on CEH because he was playing against the Bills defense. I just knew he wasn't going to get it.
Matchup, obviously.
It was. Yep, and that's why I took the other. He's a great player, but against that Bills, front and back of their defense, I didn't think he was going to do very well. Obviously I had Josh Allen. Godwin did great. He's going to be doing great all season long. I know Tom Brady. We got the whole struggles. We already talked about that. Godwin's going to be stupid solid all season. Again, Will Lutz was probably my best pickup of this week. Scored 14 points as my kicker.
That was ridiculous. I can't believe we got so many points.
I know. And then I got Barkley and McCaffrey, as you know, both getting a little bit more than 17 points as well for this week. Dion Jackson was my star true pickup, but I didn't, of course, play him because I was kind of nervous about it.
Doesn't matter. You won.
No, didn't matter for our matchup, but.
Doesn't matter.
Nonetheless, he got 23 points, 1 touchdown, 42 rushing yards of 12 attempts. But where it really came into play is he had 80 yards receiving after 10 receptions. A lot of dump-off passes for Matt Ryan. Made Dion Jackson a great pickup for fantasy. Definitely look, if he's not drafted right now, I wouldn't waste a lot of fab money on him if you're playing one of those leagues with the different waiver pickups where you got to spend some salary cap on him. But nonetheless, if Taylor's out for one more week, he's an easy plug and play.
Yeah.
Who do we got against next week? Against Tennessee, that's an easy plug and play if Dion's healthy and JT is out. So definitely monitor that one. Coming up here, let's go ahead and I suppose we can move to your game. How do I even find it here? I'm going to find it on my phone. So you played against Josh.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, so name off the teams first.
Nope.
Name them off.
Josh's team. I like Tibbities. 87 points versus 97 points for the Secret Juice, Justin. Herbert, we already talked about that. He didn't even get you 10 points, huh? Crap.
Didn't matter in the end because
Nope.
on Monday night I was tied with Josh and I was like, all you need to do is just throw a pass attempt and break your leg and I'll win.
Yep. As long as he got 0.01 points, you were gonna win that.
Yeah.
So it didn't really matter too much. Josh had Marquise Brown, who was injured. We did mention that earlier in the episode. Alec Pierce, Josh had, who, if you guys aren't picking Alex Pierce up, go ahead and pick him up. He should be great. I know Matt Ryan is the best quarterback, but especially for these bye weeks coming up, he's a great rookie to plug and play. Got another touchdown this week, 50 receiving yards, 3 receptions as well. Devontae Smith finally did something again. Mark Andrews obviously is just a stud. You mentioned Jamar Chase. Debo's been getting double-digit points, pretty solid floor every single week.
Every single week, double digit.
Yeah. Pretty good. Were you hoping for, some 20-point games?
I was, but now like this new running back came in for San Francisco. I forget who it is.
Jeff Wilson, yeah.
No, somebody else actually.
Yes, Tevin Coleman.
And now like he's getting the majority of the carries that Debo was doing. But
Really?
still, I mean, they're still using him. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Double digits every single week. Other than that, Jamar Chase, 28 points, finally had his best game of the year.
Yep.
And that's what led me to victory.
Yeah, truly that's it. David Montgomery has been looking okay. They're just using Khalil Herbert a ton for some reason. They're giving it to the hot hand. I get it. Benjamin, you got Arizona running back as well. He should be a fine plug and play for this week. James Conner's going to be out for the next couple weeks, I'm sure.
And I got Josh too drunk that night before the game, and he forgot to check his lineup, and he put in Jonathan Taylor, who was out. And then New England's defense, 13 points.
Yeah.
How much did Denver get? 5 points.
Yes, 5 points for Denver. Yep.
Oh, all right.
Yep.
And I was actually contemplating between starting Jacoby Myers over Christian Kirk. I mean, a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, Kirk did get the touchdown, which certainly helped. He only had 24 receiving yards. With that touchdown, he got a little bit more than 8 points for half PPR. Myers did get 4 receptions for 60 yards, total of 8 points. But we knew this would be a run-heavy game going into this week as well, so I kind of can make sense of that. Finally here, let's maybe just run through the recommended waivers for this week and see what we think about the top couple guys for Yahoo in our league. Transaction trends on my phone here. We got the New York Jets defense. They've been pretty hot. I know you mentioned them earlier as well. Q-tip before we started the episode got 20 points against Green Bay last week for fantasy. 4 sacks, a fumble recovery, a touchdown, 2 block kicks. I mean, I didn't even know all that. That's
special teams though. Does that count towards defense?
yes. Block
But
kicks.
that's
count.
special teams.
Block kicks count. Yep. A little goofy, but it's still. That's how it works. That's how she works. Yep. Miami is the second one up, just because I think they play Pittsburgh this week. Yes, they do. I don't think I'm jumping to grab Miami. They haven't been really hot this season. No, they had a good week 1 against the Patriots, but again, it's Patriots week 1. We already talked about Bill gets his stride after week 3, so I ain't taking that into consideration. Kenyon Drake and Latavius Murray, we'll put them both kind of together. Both have some running back issues ahead of them. They're the number 2 on their depth charts. Definitely both worth ads. If those number 1 guys are out, they're easy plug and plays. Drake plays against Cleveland, who gives up the 3rd most rushing yards for running back so far this season. Latavius Murray plays against the Jets, who are 17th in that category, but still, you got to play those starters there. Vegas Raiders defense playing against Houston in week 7. I ain't jumping out of my chair to grab them by any means. Matt Ryan is up here as well. I think truly it's just because he had a great week last week. Almost 400 passing yards, 3 touchdowns for a little bit more than 27 fantasy points.
Nice.
He plays against Tennessee next week, who does give up the 5th most fantasy points so far in this season to quarterbacks. Hey, Matt Ryan's a contender for these bye weeks?
I
guess so too. I hate to say it, but he's probably the best out there so far. We'll see if we run into someone else here. Got Robert Tonyan. If we need a tight end, he did pretty decent last week, if I remember correctly. Nick Folk was dropped in our league. He's just been not doing very well. Chase Claypool is on the trade market for the regular season.
Finally had a good game.
He did. Wan'Dale Robinson as well. I mentioned him earlier. Got a touchdown this week. Darius Slayton did nothing for the receiving game for the Giants. He is a possible add in deeper 12-team leagues. Mike Gesicki, a decent tight end as well. If you got a tight end on a bye week like Goddard. Just
She
random
is.
example.
Which he is.
I know. I know. Mariota, we mentioned earlier. Very kind of random, and I hate to talk about kickers, but Brandon Mcmanus, if Denver can't score a touchdown, they're going to kick the field goal, right? His last 2 games, he scored 13 and 11 points, and had 12 and 11 the weeks prior to that, and had 5 the 2 middle weeks against some tougher teams. We got Matt Gayer's kicker on a bye this week. Hey, give it a shot. They're playing against the Jets this week again. Their defense has been doing great. Hopefully they can get to the 40-yard line or something, and Brandon can kick a couple in for you. Daniel Jones, you mentioned as well. Robbie Anderson still out there. Might be a possibility for some pickup as well, just due to that new trade. Other than that, looks like Hopkins has an injury, but that'll probably do it for... Nah, well, he'll maybe come back.
Won't stop him.
But nonetheless, that's probably it for our Week 6 recap here. Let us know your thoughts if the Giants are going to continue this streak or what the real deal is and when Philadelphia will really lose their 6-0 winning streak. Thanks again for tuning in. As always, subscribe for more football content all season long, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Yes.